right, good evening, everyone. We will get started with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we get started with the regular portion of the meeting, we do have a conditional use hearing.
Yes, this is the conditional use hearing for the property located at 129 Viola Lane. Do we have any public comments concerning the conditional use hearing? Okay. With that, I believe the engineer is going to say a few things on behalf of Pencor Holdings.
Good afternoon, Tibbin Zerby with Nicky Engineering, Division of Century Engineering. Do you guys have the plan that was presented in front of you by chance? Okay. I guess, have you guys looked over everything? Are you familiar with the whole proposal? I can kind of give you an overview of everything if you'd like.
I have, speaking for myself.
Okay. I'll run just a quick overview. As stated, the property's at 129 Viola Lane. It's about 2 miles east of Penn's Cave. The property is owned by Pencor Holdings, Bob and Jill Decker, who are here. And currently, the property has an existing structure, and they're looking to renovate that existing structure and add another structure behind it. They're looking to have wedding venue, receptions, different activities, different uses. They don't really want to limit it to weddings, but really just a recreational center, anything from farmers markets on the property. You can see on the sketch plan that we went through the ordinance, have been working with the zoning officer and presented it to the planning commission. Looked at different things that go along with the development, stormwater. We did do sewage testing with DEP. We're working through that planning process. We did look at the ordinance and got a determination on parking, so we have some proposed parking. There is screening that's proposed, kind of all covered on the sketch plan that you guys looked through. And then the last plan was just some pictures to familiarize yourself with the property. I did mention we presented it to the planning commission, and they recommended approval to you guys, which is why we're here. I believe the only comment, I guess, that they had was in relation to a dry hydrant easement. You guys have any questions for myself or Mr. and Mrs. Decker?
I just had one question. Is it the intent to rent this house that's here, fix it up and rent it? Is that?
That's correct.
Yeah.
It's going to be an option with the venue.
Yeah, okay. No, I don't have any other questions. I have none.
Okay. We will be preparing findings of fact and conclusions of law. Are you guys satisfied if we use the information submitted through the application for that as well?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
So I'll entertain a motion to approve the conditional use contingent upon approval of the findings of fact.
I will make that motion. I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion?
I don't hear it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we will move on to the regular portion of the meeting. The signage. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Pam could not be with us today. She lost her father last week, so she's dealing with some family things this evening. For public comment, we have Austin McCown.
My name is Hobson McCown. I'm currently a resident of Ferguson Township. And I come again here to speak to you in regard to the right to know law, what's going on with that, and how sometimes, for some reason, violence comes from it, and it should not. It just so happens that a right to know request turned up a video recently of someone grabbing my tie while the supervisors were in executive session. This is a meeting several months ago. And so it would otherwise be easy for me to tell a story that no one would believe, except for the fact there were people there who saw it, and now there's video. Sometimes the right to know law can be important to expose things, to explain why it's there in the first place. And this was part of a series of incidents that started with my public comment regarding the town hall meeting. Following that, I was accosted by someone who, at the time, I did not know who that was. But I came to find out it was a township resident, Jim Smith. And he told me what I had to say was bullshit and so on. And for some reason, he was agitated and seemed like he might become belligerent. At some point, he advanced toward me, and this was half a room of people leaving. Some people might have seen it, but someone got in the way of that. So there, nothing happened. Fine. I just thought he was a citizen. Sometimes there's people getting flamed. We all get emotional. Sometimes that's fine. But when I spoke about that incident at the next public meeting I attended here, as I was speaking, Jim Smith uttered that he didn't do what I said and identified himself as that person to the crowd. And then during the executive session, I asked him, did you not mean to assault me the last time I saw you? He said, no. And he wrung his fingers around my tie and said I would know that he meant to hit me. And my understanding of this was that he would choose the place and time if that were to occur. And this kind of intimidation, to me it just looked like a citizen with whatever interests he may have that are, I don't know what source they are, but then I come to find out that he's apparently a school board member. He's employed here to open and close the building. He just got elevated to some sort of emergency services position. And so then it starts to look like people who are involved with local government are in the business of virtue signaling to people and intimidating. I'm not going to stop doing what I do because of that intimidation, but I see what's going on. And I want to link that with something I experienced today filing right to know request with the county. I went to the sheriff's office today, filed some right to know requests. Brian Samson deals with those, and he says they take up all of his time, which is an exaggeration, but that's what he says. I spoke with him on some other matters as well. And in between those, I happened to be standing in the lobby, and there was a point where I overheard a phone call between him and an assistant district attorney where, for some reason, that they were talking about me. And I heard the attorney say, crazy like Hobson McCown. And I thought, what serendipity for me to be there to hear that. And then later, after I talked to Samsel again, I overheard him in an agitated expression want to slam his head in. I didn't hear what, like a can or something. I didn't quite hear. All right, these are private moments behind closed doors, which is one thing, but if you pair these things together, painting somebody a certain way with emotions that may cause violence, the idea, what this boils into, is using slander and misrepresentation to make it easy to attack people who are trying to do their civic duty. And we ought to be vigilant for government to work. It does not work without the vigilance of citizens and their direct involvement with government. Otherwise, it devolves into organized criminality.
Mr. McCown, we typically do 5 minutes for public comments. Could you wrap it up in the next 30 seconds or so?
Sure.
Thank you.
I don't want people grabbing my tie and telling me that they're going to choose time and place of Higbee. If that happens, then we'll move this story forward and maybe figure some things out, but it's obnoxious to me. It shouldn't be happening, and your officials should not be involved in this kind of intimidation, because we need people to be civic, we need people to volunteer and be part of government, not be intimidated from it. And if that's allowed to continue and more people to do it, you appear to become a Pennsylvania criminal organization, which can be investigated criminally and civilly under state law. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Move on to liaison reports. First, we have solicitor's report.
Nothing to report from the solicitor that's not being addressed elsewhere in the agenda. No pending rate and no log requests or anything like that.
Emergency management coordinator.
Yeah, I have nothing to report, except when we talked out in the hall, I didn't grab your tie, I touched your tie. We shook hands, and I said there was no problem. Do you remember that part? They said we filled.
Sir, public comments have ended.
EM's, well, I think I ought to be able to announce that, because he accused me of accosting him.
Well, there's a time and place, and we could address it after.
Okay, for emergency management coordinator, there hasn't been really anything, there hasn't been any flooding, no severe storms.
Jim, just a couple things. I think it would be good if we get together, you, Domer, maybe even Scott, Brandon, to kind of go over what the protocol and procedures are for things like down tree calls, things like that. So that's one thing. The other thing would be, Brandon got a call about a tree in Sinking Creek that needs to be removed out of the creek. So it might be good to coordinate to help get that tree out of the.
It's gonna have to go through the fishing mission and drag it out.
Well, it's
Fish and
through,
Wildlife's there.
It's-
I
they're
talked-
doing that stream
I
bank
talked with
improvement.
Dave Teller's the one who called me, so I talked with him. It's old, and if we wanna spend, how we wanna do that, I mean, who's gonna help, and if you wanna give us and the backhoe for a day, or however it wants to be coordinated or needs to be coordinated, that's,
Okay.
I guess.
Get hold of me.
Thank you. Fire company.
We were limited on calls as far as last month goes. We only had about 8 calls. Our biggest deal was a cat stuck in a tree, about 80 feet up. Well, it was only about 30 feet up. As soon as we got to the top of the ladder, it kept going. And when it cleared to the top, the tree didn't have any branches. And the lady said, I want my cat down. And I said, ma'am, first of all, she's back in Lingo Valley where it's all woods, and we couldn't fly a truck in there to get it. So I said, there's only one way to do this. And she said, I know what you mean. And I said, well, we can make it rain, so we did. The cat came down. Not intentionally with hard water, but it came down because it was getting wet. I'm proud to say we are coming off our best carnival in years. We don't have total numbers yet, but I can tell you that it's much, much better than it has been in years past. We had a great parade. I had several comments about that. Everybody enjoyed the parade. We had, I miscounted my apparatus, I forget what it was. But we had more apparatus this year than we've had in a long time. I would like to thank Carrie for sitting in our dunker for us. That was awesome. Same with Domer and everybody else who sat in. It generated a lot of money this year, a lot more than it normally does. I also want to thank our local businesses for all the donations for ground prizes, raffle tickets, whatever they donated to. We did basically everything on donations. And we also had a lot of prizes donated back, such as raffle ticket prizes, cash prizes. People donated a lot of that back. Also, parade prizes. Instead of trophies this year, we gave cash. A lot of those were given back to us, and we sure do appreciate that. We are going to, I've kind of made a 5-year plan here, or a foreseeable future plan, if you will. I would like to